Good morning, you guys. Look, today we're going to talk about entrepreneurship, and hopefully, this will help you understand, right? And help you not beat yourself up too bad when it comes to entrepreneurship, right? Because a lot of times we beat ourselves up because we don't understand why they don't get it, why they don't see what I see when it comes to being your own boss, when it comes to creating an avenue where you have income at your disposal that you can control versus having, income based on someone else dictating what that will look like for you. Look, the most important thing that you got to remember is entrepreneurship is not the norm, right? And because it's not the norm, people adhere or afraid to adhere to entrepreneurship because it doesn't it scares them, right? It scares them because, believe it or not, the 9 to 5 work model has been deeply ingrained in all of us, right? It's been ingrained into the societal norms. It's been ingrained into the expectations. It's been ingrained in the stability and you thinking that that's your stability. And it's also been ingrained and the expectation of, hey, we'll promote the 9 to 5 work model because that's what we've been indoctrinated, or it has been ingrained in us to think that, hey, that 9 to 5 is safer and it's more comfortable, right? Because I have that stability knowing that I have that 9 to 5, even if that 9 to 5 can't, do what it needs to do to help me take care of my responsibilities in my life, right? So because it's been ingrained in us to think about that 9 to 5 as stability, right? That's the societal norm. People don't understand the aspect of entrepreneurship, right? And so because that's the societal norm, it's causing people to feel pressured, right? Feel pressure when it comes to stepping out and walking into that unconventional path of entrepreneurship, because now you're getting outside of your comfort zone, doing something that society says that's not the norm, right? So I want you to understand, it's not entrepreneurship. It's the fact that people don't understand the concept of what entrepreneurship can bring to their tables because of what society says about the 9 to 5 work model that has been ingrained in all of our minds to think that, hey, if I get a 9 to 5, I'm going to be stable. I'm going to be on the right track. You know what I'm saying? So we don't look at entrepreneurship. We don't celebrate entrepreneurship because that's not the conventional career path, right? That society has ingrained in us, indoctrinated in us, basically put into us to think that, hey, we cannot survive without that 9 to 5 work model. So I want you to understand, look, you can survive without that 9 to 5 work model. I don't knock the 9 to 5 work model, but I want you to understand, because a lot of times you say, hey, why are they not investing and being their own boss? Why are they not signing up for my email marketing? Why are they not taking my trainings? Why are they not, invested in coaching? Why are they not wanting to become self-sufficient, right? So they can increase the revenue that's coming in their home based on their own terms and not based on someone else's dictations of what that income would look like, so that they can build up their finances so they can be self-sufficient, to be able to make their own moves, right? Dictate their own success stories based on what they brought in themselves by being an entrepreneur. So some of the things that causes that is because, number one of the things that is it causes people to question is because, number one, it's familiar, right? Getting a job is celebrated. Getting a job is celebrated because that's what society says. You need to work a 9 to 5 in order to have stability, in order to have that American dream, the White House, the picket fence, the dog, the 2 children, and your husband, right? They don't celebrate entrepreneurship, right? Because it's not the conventional career path that has been indoctrinated and brainwashed or, taught to us, right? Having that 9 to 5, right? So the first thing is stability. And then the next thing I would say, number 2, would be the perception of stability, right? When you think about entrepreneurship, the first thing people think about, hey, I'm going to lose something. Oh, I'm not ready to make that risk. With my job, it's comfortable because I know for sure if I work 40 hours, I'm going to get this amount of pay, right? If I go and get this job, I may have benefits, but without thinking about, hey, if I become an entrepreneur, right, I can control the amount of money that I make based on the amount of work that I put out, based on the amount of products that I sell, based on the amount of things that I do in my business to generate that source of income. So because of the perception of stability, right, people will run away from it because they're not ready to take responsibility about setting their own level of stability, right? By being disciplined, connecting to what they need to do to make it happen, right? It's easier to take a step back and say, hey, I'm going to depend on my 9 to 5 because I know my 9 to 5 is safe. And when you're trying to walk out or get out of that safe space, it is scary. And the third thing, because of society has dictated that, guess what? The 9 to 5 work model is the only way that you can be successful, right? But that's not the case. But because of the societal norms in regards to that, that's why people are afraid to, hey, invest in this, right? Because they're unsure, right? So those are 3 things you need to think about, because it's familiar, the perception of stability, and also societal norms. That's the norm. That work structure, work 9 to 5, is the societal norm. It doesn't make it wrong, right? But it also doesn't mean that that's the only way that you can put yourself in a position where you're self-sufficient to be able to generate your own source of income. So I don't want you to get frustrated with the fact that, hey, they don't get it, right? They don't see it right now, but I'm going to give you some things to help you maneuver through that, right? Because number one, you got to understand, you got to continue to bring education and awareness to entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship is not being talked about enough, right? We don't make that a part of our dialogue, a part of our conversations. Why? Because we are afraid of that conversation or afraid to step out into entrepreneurship. So the first thing we got to do as entrepreneurs, right, instead of whining about it, we got to continue to talk about it. We got to continue to bring awareness and education on how entrepreneurship, right, is our actual birthright and inheritance, right, to be self-sufficient, so that we can see that 9 to 5 work model, appreciate it, but also look at a way to be able to be self-sufficient, right? Even if we have to stay in that 9 to 5 work model, but also looking at avenues where we can branch off so that we can increase our own cash flow, increase our own finances, create our own level of stability outside of that 9 to 5 work model. So what we got to do is continue to bring education and awareness to in entrepreneurship. Continue to talk about it, right? The second thing we can do, we got to start celebrating entrepreneurship. We got to start having entrepreneurship days, right? We got to start celebrating those entrepreneurs that are making big impact, right, in entrepreneurship. We don't celebrate entrepreneurship enough. But when a person gets in that 9 to 5 work model, we congratulate that because that's comfortable, that's familiar, that's safe, right? But we don't celebrate entrepreneurship the same way we celebrate a 9 to 5. So we got to start celebrating entrepreneurship, us as entrepreneurs, and educating people and bringing them more aware, giving them information to be more aware of what that entails, right? And the third thing we can do, we got to start creating and fostering real support networks and systems amongst one another, right? We got to start creating ecosystems of individuals, right, that are entrepreneurs. We got to start celebrating them. We got to start creating forums. We got to start creating atmospheres, right, where entrepreneurs from everywhere link up, strategize, collaborate with each other, right? And we got to start as entrepreneurs really wanting to see each other succeed and not wanting to, pull each other down. So when you see that power struggle in entrepreneurship and that ecosystem is not helping, but we're tearing each other down like crabs in a bucket, guess what? People don't respect entrepreneurship, right? So when they see that, they shy away from entrepreneurship because they don't want to get in that rat race of, hey, look, I got to play my cards, but I got to also worry about somebody stealing my deck of cards as well. So make sure when you're thinking about entrepreneurship, right, and you're struggling to understand why people don't get it, why people don't see it, you got to understand the 9-to-5 work model has been indoctrinated, right, and ingrained in us since the beginning of time. That work model is doing what it was designed to do. Keep you connected to that 9-to-5 work mentality, right? So just because they're not investing in it, they're not buying into what you're offering and you're selling right now, does not mean, right, that they eventually won't. They just have to get more education. There has to be more awareness about entrepreneurship and the real benefits of entrepreneurship, the real stories behind entrepreneurship, the real things of what it takes to be a successful entrepreneur, and not the glitz and glam of what some people are displaying, right? That some people may not ever reach, right? But telling the true stories of the benefits of entrepreneurship, the work that's involved with entrepreneurship, the discipline that it takes to be a successful entrepreneur, giving them realistic education in regards to what entrepreneurship and how it can be a blessing, right? Even if they stay in that 9-to-5 work model, how it can be a blessing to their livelihoods, right? We got to continue to spread awareness. We got to continue to celebrate one another as entrepreneurs, whether we have a big business, small business, we have got to continue to celebrate each other, and we got to continue to foster a real support system or ecosystem when it comes to entrepreneurship. Because believe it or not, the 9-to-5 work model, that's something that you're already familiar with. You know how it flows. You know how the 9-to-5 work model works backwards and forward. But people don't understand the process of entrepreneurship because it's not the conventional norm. So look, this is something that I want you guys to think about. I want you to look, don't get discouraged about entrepreneurship. I want you guys to think about it from that standpoint. Just like a baby comes into this world, right, to learn new things. They don't just come in the world and come out walking, right? It's a process, right? And entrepreneurship is a process as well. But it's up to us as entrepreneurs to educate the people, continue to promote entrepreneurship, continue to give the real behind entrepreneurship by showing up authentically, telling the truth about what it entails, for real, right? And celebrating it and empowering other people to connect, right, to becoming an entrepreneur, right? So look, entrepreneurship is not the norm. So that's why people don't get it. Look, I'm Coach Tanya. I'm a mindset and business success coach. Look, if you want to, you have an opportunity to invest in some of our self-paced trainings. You can grab some of our resource materials, or you can schedule a conversation with me to see how we can work together, right? To build your confidence up when it comes to you walking into entrepreneurship. Look, entrepreneurship is not the norm, but that's okay. You got to make sure that you continue to educate, bring awareness, celebrate, and foster a good ecosystem so that people will learn more about it so that they can start taking part into entrepreneurship. Look, I hope this helps somebody. Y'all go out and y'all have a great day. Talk to you again on the next video.